close during his childhood, and Burden is confident that there is no dirt to be found. The boss disagrees. Man is conceived in sin and born in corruption, and he passeth from the stink of the diety to the stench of the shroud. There's always something. Burden does what Stark asks and starts to dig into Judge Irwin's finances. Much to his profound disappointment, he discovers that the boss is correct. His old family friend is corrupt. He took a bribe. Burden also learns that Judge Irwin is actually his father. Burden traces the serpentine flow of corporate money to the judge himself, observing what he calls the flower in the crannied wall theory. So I plucked the flower out of its cranny and discovered an astonishing botanical fact. I discovered that its delicate little root, with many loops and kinks, ran all the way to New York City, where it tapped the lush dung heap called Madison Corporation. The flower in the cranny was the Southern Bell Fuel Company. So I plucked another little flower called the American Electric Power Company, and discovered that its delicate little root tapped the same dung heap. The corrupt facts are exposed. Dishonored and distraught, Judge Irwin commits suicide. Warren's analogy, a study in contrast between the attractive flower and its dark roots winding their way in the muck, sustaining the surface beauty, succinctly describes the labyrinthine set of deep relationships enjoyed by some prominent American politicians today. Hidden self- and family-enriching relationships lie beneath the charismatic exterior. While few today would follow the outdated pattern of 1930s bribery, current political figures often benefit from financial ties with special interest parties that are hard to trace, obscured behind what seems like a rock wall. Tracing those money routes may take much digging, but understanding the flowers, or politicians, ecosystem within the crannied wall reveals how they use or would use whatever public power is vested in them. Part of the challenge is first identifying the tie between political power and those with whom they leverage their position. These are the roots behind the crannied wall. Jack Burden calls these a relationship in time. Those complex rooted relationships provide the background for how politicians wield power, leverage their position, for their own benefit or for the benefit of those close to them. All the King's Men is a study in how politicians can wrap their public acts in the glory of the public good, while actually leveraging power for themselves. The boss is the perfect example of the crusading politician who says he wants to change the system, and perhaps even does, but ultimately crusades for his own advancement and those close to him. While many today want to talk about income inequality in America, the larger divide is one of power inequality. What makes so many people angry at Washington is the fact that those with political power get to operate by a different set of rules than the rest of us. They use their own levers of power to protect their family and friends from the scales of justice, bail out their failing businesses, steer taxpayer money to them. When they misstep, they are excused or it is covered up. While those with little or no power have to pay for the consequences of their actions, the political class often does not. The power elite, the people who grease the wheels for themselves, are the most disconcerting and dangerous ones. In my experience, Willie Stark, whom Warren modeled after Louisiana Governor Huey P. Long, is often imitated in American politics today, although in a far less crude manner. The Willie Starks of today talk about lifting others up, but in fact they use their positions to advance and enrich themselves, their family, and their friends, and do so using methods and deceptions that we generally call corrupt, whether or not the evidence allows legal prosecution. Let me be clear. There are also true public servants, on both sides of the aisle, who navigate the challenging world of politics with integrity and for the good of the country, but they appear to be a dying group. Willie Stark articulates perfectly that corruption is a profound human problem. Public power, and thus influence, makes it tempting to leverage your position for the direct benefit of yourself, family, friends, and those who will keep you there. The greater the public power, the longer the lever arm a politician has to tip the scales. This book focuses on progressive politicians, not because they alone are vulnerable to corruption, far from it. Clearly, the abuse of political power is a human problem across the full spectrum of political beliefs. But I focus on progressives here because they are unique in one respect from all others on the contemporary American political scene. They all favor the rapid and radical expansion of federal political